And royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams into the conversation here. Richard, good to see you. This is a really important meeting that the King has had with members of the Irish Parliament. The main Irish Nationalist Party also meeting, representatives there also meeting. Talk to us about the significance of this visit and the relationship he has, or the Queen had, with Ireland, and now, of course, the King, King Charles III, will need to continue to build.
Yes, as you can see, with the ritual which was so moving yesterday in Scotland, and of course, as you know, the Queen passed at Balmoral Castle, it had always been planned in the event of the Queen's passing that the King would travel to Scotland, to Northern Ireland, and to Wales. It is tremendously significant, especially at this time. I mean, you've just heard what I thought was a remarkable speech by King Charles, because obviously the Queen played a tremendous part, not only symbolically as far as Northern Ireland is concerned, where, as you know, there are very deep divides between the various parties, and also and especially in recent memory between Protestants and Catholics. But I think it was a very important speech because the reference there, though not explicitly, was to the Queen's visit to Ireland itself in 2011. This followed the Good Friday Agreement, and it also followed the apology for Bloody Sunday, and it set the seal on the peace process. And I would suggest that that was the most significant moment of the Queen's reign. Sinn Féin had opposed the visit, but in fact changed their minds when the Irish head of state visited Britain in 2014. Martin McGuinness of Sinn Féin was in white tie at Windsor. So it is really significant, especially with independence moves in Scotland, with the possibility, I mean, there is the Northern Ireland Protocol, which has been a bone of contention when Britain left the EU in reference to Brexit, and also, of course, the need to continue the peace process and to ensure, because there have been many political upheavals in Northern Ireland, that it remains part of the United Kingdom. The future of the United Kingdom, you could say, as King Charles ascends the throne, is there are question marks, both over Scotland and in the long term over Northern Ireland. But this puts the unity, the fact that the unity of the four nations, the fact that the monarchy is a symbol of national unity.
Richard, can you still hear us? I think we may have just lost your audio. Are you still there?
Yes, I am indeed.
Okay, wonderful. Sorry, we just lost your audio there. I mean, it's so critical what you're saying here. And as people are mourning the loss of the Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, they are also now looking to King Charles III for that guidance and support. But there have been a lot of questions to say, yes, we will support him, but we will have to wait and see what kind of king he is going to be. Your perspective from that, because there is a lot of work. He's even acknowledged himself the weight on his shoulders to be able to carry things on from his mother.
I think it's a very important point, the weight on his shoulders, because if you look that the Queen only passed on Thursday, if you look at the most extraordinary number of events that he's been involved in since then, the meeting of the Accession Council, walkabouts, the ceremony at Holyrood House, and then subsequently at St. Giles Cathedral, walking behind the coffin up the Royal Mile, and then at Hillsborough Castle, which you've just been seeing footage of, and that Wales also will be visited. I think it's on Friday. And tomorrow, of course, a big ceremonial moment when the Queen's coffin is in fact transported from Buckingham Palace to Westminster Hall, and there'll be 4 days of national mourning. And of course, he will be with Queen Consort Camilla walking behind the coffin. I mean, it's an extraordinary period for him. You asked what sort of king he's going to be. Above party politics, the royal means to be advised, encouraged, and warned. Most particularly, of course, it is not just the power he has, which he doesn't use in most cases, but the power he denies to others is a very, very strong part of our unwritten constitution. And the symbolic moments that you saw in Scotland, where the crown of Scotland was in fact placed on the Queen's coffin in St. Giles Cathedral, that dates back hundreds of years. It's a moment of enormous significance. And the vigil of the princes, the King Charles and his siblings, whilst mourners were filing past the Queen's coffin. All of this is tremendously meaningful, and it goes to show part and parcel of what the monarchy means in British life, but also the walkabouts. There's a certain spontaneity about them, and I think he has handled this superbly, but the pressures on him, and after all, he's lost his mother, are very, very considerable.
Yeah, no, indeed. And I think you also point out the meet and greets are so important. The face-to-face, the connection, the shaking of the hands. And we saw that, we've seen him do that with the Queen Consort. We've also seen his children do that, Prince William and Prince Harry as well. But as you say there, the decisions that he's going to have to make behind the scenes that will be very significant and representative. We saw that yesterday as well. As you mentioned, his siblings walking with him behind the Queen's coffin, but his brother, Prince Andrew, not in military uniform. Unlike the rest of his siblings, Prince Edward, Princess Anne, and of course the King himself. When we look now to tomorrow, Richard, walk us through what we are going to see, because that in itself is going to be a very grand affair for the Queen. And then, as you say there, she will lie in state for 4 days, giving the droves and droves of people wanting to pay their respects time to hopefully do that before her funeral.
Well, what we're seeing tomorrow, firstly, the Queen's coffin will fly back, accompanied by Princess Anne, Princess Royal, to England from Scotland. And then tomorrow afternoon, from Buckingham Palace, it will lie overnight in the throne room of Buckingham Palace. What we will see is a procession which will take it. It will be on be accompanied by the Royal Horse Artillery. They will take the coffin, which will be followed by King Charles, Queen Consort Camilla, and senior members of the royal family. They will walk up, and this has echoes of the Princess of Wales' funeral most recently, that there have been vast crowds, I don't doubt. They will walk up the Mall and into Whitehall toward Westminster Hall, which is where the Queen will lie in state for 4 days, and the a variety of the guards, there are 5 regiments of foot and 2 regiments of horse. The Grenadier Guards have the task of a very, very significant role in tomorrow, because they're the senior regiment of foot, and they will be carrying the coffin. And once it is in Westminster Hall, from 5 o'clock, members of the public will be allowed to walk past it.
And how her coffin will be adorned as well, Richard, will be very, very significant. In this case now, it will be adorned with the imperial state crown.
The imperial state crown, which is, of course, the most significant of the Queen's crowns, indeed, that will be very, very important. And what we will see will be a very moving, very spectacular ceremony, which was handled with precision, but also it will be, I think, a moment that people will begin the realization. It's taken some time, I think, to dawn precisely what has happened, what we're seeing in royal funerals. We saw this for Lord Mountbatten's in 1979, and then the Queen Mother, of course, in 2002, and subsequently Princess Diana. These are always very moving occasions. with Princess Diana, what one remembers, and there will be no music or route tomorrow. One remembers the horses' hooves and the Abbey bell, and there will be memories that people will take who'll be watching, and as many on the route as possibly can. There will be huge crowds. I was at Buckingham Palace yesterday, and I mean, there's tens of thousands of people were walking around in certain areas, and they will take these memories back and remember them all their lives. This will be a very, very moving ceremonial. As I say, the Grenadier Guards will play a pivotal part, and King Charles and Queen Consort Camilla, followed by members of the royal family. This is bound to evoke memories of the young princes, together with Prince Philip and Earl Spencer, and of course Prince Charles, walking behind Diana's coffin in 1997, and that became part of well, you could say, the legend of these islands. And tomorrow will be a very, very significant day.
It certainly will. Richard, it's great to speak with you. Thank you so much for this. Royal Commentator Richard Fitzwilliams. We'll speak to you again soon. Richard, thank you.